Imagine this. You're thousands of feet above the earth, cruising through calm skies, when masked men suddenly storm the cabin. Their voices are sharp, their guns gleam under the cabin lights, and panic spreads like wildfire. Passengers scream, flight attendants freeze, and chaos consumes the air. In that storm of fear, one woman does the impossible. She doesn't panic. She doesn't scream. She just watches. Calm, steady, calculating. No one around her realizes that this quiet passenger holds a secret that will change the fate of everyone on board. What she's about to do will stun the world, and her name will never be forgotten. At 34,000 feet, Flight 782 sliced through the Atlantic night, a silver arrow gliding through clouds. For most passengers, it was just another routine journey, families chatting softly, businessmen lost in work, children marveling at the stars outside. But among them were men who carried more than baggage. They carried hate, weapons, and a deadly plan. It started with a scream. A flight attendant stumbled backward, shoved by a man whose face was hidden behind a scarf. A gun flashed. "Sit down. Nobody move," he barked. 3 others appeared, shouting in different tongues, their weapons raised. Fear gripped the cabin like a vice. Mothers clung to their children. Men froze, helpless. The air thickened with dread. In the cockpit, Captain Reynolds tried to steady his voice. "Remain calm. Do as they say." But even he couldn't hide the tremor that betrayed the truth. He was terrified. Then, through the cabin camera feed, he noticed something strange. Amid all the panic, one woman near row 14 was completely still. Her expression calm, her movements deliberate. It was as if she had seen this before. Her name was Elena Torres. To the world, she looked ordinary, jeans, a loose sweater, her hair tied back. But beneath that quiet exterior was a past she had buried deep. Years ago, Elena had been an intelligence operative, trained in counterterrorism, fluent in deception, and an expert in survival. She had left that world behind, hoping for peace. But fate had just dragged her back into the fight. The hijackers, leader barked orders. "Pilot, change course, head east, try anything and people die." His gun glistened under the dim lights. The crew obeyed. The passengers sobbed quietly, but Elena's heart rate never spiked. Her breathing stayed slow. Her eyes followed every movement, analyzing, memorizing. She studied the rhythm of their patrols, their tempers, their weapons. She saw the youngest one's nervous twitch, the arrogance of the leader, the cold silence of the man guarding the rear. Her first move wasn't physical. It was mental. She made herself invisible by appearing terrified. She lowered her gaze, blended in with fear, while inside her mind, gears turned. No weapon, no backup, only skill and patience. Hours dragged by. The hijackers demanded fuel stops, threatening death with every delay. Governments scrambled below. Fighter jets shadowed the plane. News channels around the world exploded with breaking headlines. Families prayed. And still, Elena waited. Watching. Calculating. Then came the opening. The youngest hijacker, barely more than a boy, was sent to watch the passengers. He waved his gun, pretending confidence, but his hands trembled. When he leaned close to threaten an old man, his grip slipped slightly. And in that fraction of a second, Elena saw everything she needed. Fear, doubt, humanity. She whispered just loud enough for him to hear, her tone calm but commanding. "You don't have to do this." He stiffened, eyes wide, startled. He barked at her to be silent. But the damage was done. A seed of doubt had been planted. Elena leaned back, letting it grow. Manipulation was her weapon now, sharper than any knife. The leader grew suspicious, snapping orders. But cracks had begun to form. And cracks, Elena knew, always lead to collapse. When the plane descended to refuel at a remote airfield, chaos boiled over. Negotiators tried to stall. The hijackers screamed threats. Amid the confusion, Elena seized her chance. She found the boy again. Her voice was low, urgent. "They'll kill you when this is over. To them, you're nothing. Help me stop them." He hesitated. Sweat dripped down his face. His lips trembled. "What do I do?" he whispered. That was all she needed. With his help, she learned where the weapons were hidden, when their shifts changed, and who held the most control. Every detail became a weapon. Every second mattered. The final confrontation came in the dead of night, high above the black ocean. The leader, believing fear had crushed all resistance, let his guard down. Passengers sat slumped in exhaustion. But Elena was ready. She gave the boy a single look, his cue. He created a distraction, stumbling, letting his gun clatter to the floor. The leader turned in rage to strike him. And in that heartbeat, Elena moved. In a flash, she was on her feet, slamming her elbow into a terrorist's wrist. The gun flew across the cabin. Gasps echoed. Another man reached for her, but she struck fast. A hit to the throat, a twist of his arm, a brutal takedown. A third lunged, but she snatched a metal seatbelt buckle and smashed it across his face. Every motion was surgical, every strike, lethal. Within minutes, 2 hijackers were down. A third was restrained by passengers who finally dared to fight. The leader clawed for his weapon, but Elena kicked it away and locked him in a chokehold so tight that his roars turned into silence. And then, silence. Real silence. For the first time in hours, the plane was free. The passengers broke into tears and cheers. Flight attendants hugged one another, trembling. In the cockpit, Captain Reynolds' voice came through the intercom, thick with awe. "Ladies and gentlemen, we are safe. Thanks to one woman." When the plane finally landed under military escort, the world already knew. Cameras flashed. Headlines exploded. Mysterious woman saves flight from hijackers. Governments praised her. Survivors called her an angel. The young hijacker who had helped her was taken into custody, but even he looked at her with gratitude. She had spared his life when she could have ended it. And just as quietly as she had acted, Elena Torres disappeared. No interviews, no fame. She vanished into the world, leaving behind only whispers and headlines. She didn't need recognition. She had done what she was trained to do: protect, survive, and save lives. And that, my friends, is the story of Elena Torres, the woman who stayed calm when the world lost hope. A passenger who turned fear into courage and saved hundreds of lives at 34,000 feet. If you were on that plane, what would you have done? Would you have kept your cool, or would fear have taken over? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Classified Courage, where true stories of bravery, survival, and the human spirit take flight.